My name is Donna Kravlik, and I am presenting a timeline of Terri Schiavo's medical, legal, and ethical controversy that overshadowed her autonomy. Brief history: February 25th, 1990, 26-year-old Terri Schiavo fell unconscious due to cardiac arrest. Her husband, Michael, of 5 years, called the paramedics. However, he did not perform CPR, and Terri was agnostic until the help arrived. They did resuscitate her, but she never regained consciousness, and they ended up putting a percutaneous endoscopic gastrostomy peg tube in her to give her feedings, and they said that her cardiac arrest was due to a potassium of 2.0 from reproductive treatments that she was undergoing to have a baby with Michael. Persistent vegetated state, also known as PVS, where the brainstem function is intact but the higher brain function is not, and she's incapable of having conscious thought, sensation, or action, but she is breathing on her own, circulation, digesting, and sleep-wake cycle, which has had reflexes activities. She had no advance direct, so Michael was appointed guardian, and Terri ended up going to a skilled facility for a heavy-duty rehab. Michael did receive nursing training in hopes that they could bring Terri home back to her parents' house, along with Michael living there. But after 3 weeks, her symptoms and PVS was overwhelming, and they could not take care of her at home anymore. He did try an experimental thymic stimulator implants treatment to restore her level of consciousness, but that did not work. So 4 years of aggressive, attentive, continued care from Michael continued, and he was sometimes very belligerent to the help at the facility and would yell at them because he just wanted the best for Terri. But in 1992, Michael and the Schindlers' relationship went bad due to a malpractice suit that he had against the fertility clinic, and he ended up getting a settlement for him and Terri, and he invested Terri's money for her care, and the Schindlers were not happy with that. July 29, 1993, Schindlers requested to remove Michael as guardian, and of course that suit was dismissed. And in May 1998, Michael petitioned the court to remove the peg tube, and the Schindlers opposed that, and the second guardian was appointed for Terri on her behalf. The second guardian did say that the physician stated there is no chance for improvement, but the Schindlers did not want to hear that. January 24th, 2000, trial to determine Terri's wishes started, and Michael had said that Terri would not have wanted to live like this, especially after her grandmother's funeral. And his brother and sister-in-law backed that up, saying that Terri has discussed with them that she would never want any heroics or any kind of artificial life support. Where the Schindlers said no, Terri has always discussed that she wants everything to be able to sustain life. The church was in her favor for removing the tube, only because they did determine that Terri did want not to live like that. So they were behind her with that, and they pretty much stayed out of that. But according to the Schindlers, they said that PVS, if in any hope of recovery, that they would go to all means to give her what she needed, even if it meant impoverished living. In February 11, 2000, court ordered the peg tube removed, and then the Schindlers proceeded with several petitions after that to hold up the proceedings. On January 24, 2001, the Court of Appeals issued removal of the peg tube. Again, the Schindlers appealed that, saying that Terri's wishes had not been produced. April 24, 2001, the peg tube was removed, and 2 days later, the Schindlers filed a civil suit against Michael to stop the process of the peg tube coming out, and the peg tube was reinserted, and another series of appeals started again. October 17, 2001, the Court of Appeals ordered 5 physicians to examine Terri, and there were 2 for Michael to look at Terri, 2 for the Schindlers, and 1 for Terri. The Schindlers doctor said that she is not in a PBS state and that there are treatments out there for her. But when it looked at the treatments, they never performed any of the treatments on her to see if it worked. And the other 3 doctors agreed she was never going to be able to come out of this. So November 15th, Schindler's filed to remove Michael as guardian for neglect and abuse. And again, they threw that out. October 15, 2003, the PEG tube was capped. And then October 19, 2003, the Advocacy Center for Disabilities filed a suit for the Schindlers, saying that ceasing of the feedings would be an abuse and neglect and would be a devaluing of Terri and her disabilities. On that same day, Florida's House of Representatives passed Terry's law, saying that the PEG tube was reinserted, and then Michael and American Civil Liberties Union filed against the Terry's law. Another temporary guardian issued for Terri, and then Governor Jeb Bush dismissed guardian findings because they said that they spent a lot of time with Terri, and the PBS state was definitely substantiated, that she was not having any kind of physical interaction with anybody, and that she was never going to be able to feed herself. Governor Bush continued to file appeals for Terry's law because Michael kept challenging them that they were unconstitutional. January 24th, 2005, the judge ordered the PEG tube to be removed on March 18th. Again, the Schindlers continued to appeal to the Supreme Court, and then history was made in politics, law, and bioethics by an introduction in the House of Representatives, H.R. 1151, where Incapacitated Persons Legal Protection Act, where the Federal Judicial Review would look at withdraw and withhold artificial fluid and nutrition, pretty much so that they wouldn't have to go through this every time a family had to deal with this. The PEG tube was removed on March 18th. There were continued appeals back and forth between Governor Jeb Bush and the Schindlers. Jeb Bush was asking custody of Terri. Pretty much the state of was asking for custody. However, on March 31st, 2005, Terri Schiavo died at 41 years old. The autopsy report showed that brain damage was extensive and severe and irreversible. Her brain weighed 615 grams, which is half of a normal 41-year-old, and she had severe loss of her occipital cortex, which showed that she was blind, so she never had any interaction in her surroundings to begin with. She was never going to be able to hydrate herself or nourish herself, and no MRIs were ever done because of her thymic implant. Ethical principle here was that autonomy was the quality of state of being free for her. Lawyers, politicians, religious leaders, cultural leaders, and the media caused chaos and took away all of preservation of Terry's dignity. The sanctity of life, the quality of life was discriminated toward her, saying that she was disabled and a moral character was involved on all bases for her Terry autonomy. Courts versus the government became the prime players for this, and not Terri, Michael, or the Schindlers. Did Michael or the Schindlers' love or selfishness overshadow what was best for Terri? And as you can see, Terry's saga lasted 15 years. To me, this is a personal perspective of what choices we might have to make over one day in our lives.